Hello good people and welcome back to Level Up Your ELO. Amongst the games of the Magnus Carlsens, the Hikaru Nakamuras, the Garry Kasparovs, lie underrated chess games that are worth some studying. Gems, to be exact. Here's one by the 12-year-old Wesley So. Let's see if we can pick up some key ideas from the game. Let's boost our ELO.
Round 1. Fight!
So this game took place in the 8th Dubai Open in 2006. Wesley So is only 12 and only rated 2254 against Faoud El Taher, who was rated 2468 at the time. Oh, before I begin and before I forget, if you find this content tolerable, it's helping you boost your ELO and you're getting something out of it, please leave a like and sub. If you haven't already, you have my gratitude. Let's get started. So Wesley starts off with e4. e5 with the opponent, and we have a bishop's opening. The usual knight to f3 also applies, but here Wesley attacks d5 twice, and definitely eyes f7 to keep that in mind when playing this opening. Knight to f6, counter-attacking, developing d3, allowing the bishop to be opened up, but also protecting e4 and easily. Bishop to c5. Knight to c3, now attacking d5 multiple times. d6, and here Wesley plays f4. 12-year-old Wesley wants to play like Alekhine, Yekin, or Tal. Knight to g4, asking this space, not the final frontier, but asking white, what do you want to do with that idea? And Wesley doesn't care. He plays f5. Actually, he does. This is a nice trap, a venomous trap, restricting e6, but also asking, what do you want to do here as black? Because if you play this, it looks like you're forking both, but you're not really, because the counterattack is queen to h5, and here Wesley shows a very mature understanding of position dynamics, calculation, and tactics. And if you take this, well, you get checkmated, of course. That's embarrassing for 2400. So you try to defend with, say, g6. But now Wesley will slide into h6, taking advantage of the weak square. And if you chomp that, well, the game is pretty much decided for white's favor. In white's favor, as you have a move like bishop to g5. Now you get this sliced. You're attacking here, possibly next move. And if say queen to d7, you guessed it, with maximum piece activity, you have this, and this, and this, and what other piece can you create a threat with? Well, it's knight to d5. f6, fork is a threat. Queen to a4 if you try to avoid, but that's just too late, because now you're attacking here first. And after that, all sorts of threats. You could go knight to c7, and simply takes. And yeah, it's just complete barbecue. And mind you, there's threats here as well, right, if you decide to take. So yeah, that variation did not happen. After f5, where Wesley's like, go ahead, please, by all means, attack f2. See what happens. h5, thwarting any ideas of queen to h5. So then Wesley defends. Knight to h3, defending that. And it's one of those positions that you have to study because your king is in the middle, your opponent's king is in the middle, but you allow this sniper of a bishop. And here, knight to e3 was played by the opponent. Wesley exchanges, freeing up the rook after takes. Now queen to f3. A natural square, supporting this pawn, attacking this piece, allowing the rooks to connect later if need be. Bishop to c5, a bit of an inaccuracy, still eyeing this idea. In this position, the Silicon Monster actually would like bishop to h6, because now you're preventing long castles, kind of forcing white to castle on the king side, but more importantly, now you protect your g6 pawn, and then you still have your eye on the dark square diagonal. But of course, the opponent is not Stockfish 12 or whatever, or 16 now. Bishop to c5 was played, maintaining this threat, which is not really the strongest threat. Queen to g3. Wesley looks at g7, maintains the threat here, potentially jumping here, and has control of this square. Rook to g8. Now, you may be wondering, why not castle into that? Why would you want to castle into that? You have a wedge pawn here, wedged on the light squares, and your kingside pawn structure is loose, and so it's probably the result of the game after. Really bad. So the opponent defended with rook to g8, at which point Wesley played rook to f1. It's perceptive stuff. This is not opened yet, and usually you want to occupy open squares with open files with your rook, but here Wesley has plans, and they're very dynamic in nature. c6, preventing ideas here, but also creating tension at d5. In this position, I want you to pause the video, want to guess what Wesley did, if you can, because here he goes Bobby Fischer mode. If you want to guess in 3, 2, 1, Bobby Fischer, Alekhine, Tal, what did he play? Wesley so sacrifices the bishop here on f7. And the opponent took. And you may be wondering, okay, all right, you have an extended pawn chain from the king, and now this is a semi-open file. So Wesley played queen to g6, and all sorts of tactical brutalities happen in this position. You might be wondering, okay, maybe give up this piece. What would Wesley play? And with perfect play, if the opponent went to f8 here, it shows potentially what Wesley had calculated. And the thing is, you don't take here, you play f6. Absolutely crazy, right, guys? You play f6. And if the opponent tries to develop, well, now you have this idea of a fork. So after takes, check. And also, if you look at it, if you take incorrectly, that's a wrap, guys, because that's attacked. So if you play here, fork, and the fork. And if you take, of course, like I mentioned, you have captures there on g8, and then captures here on e6. So takes, queen takes, and you're up a clean material. You're just going back after the sacrificed bishop takes check. And then you're also wondering, why put your king in the line of fire? Because if you go here, there's a problem with having no exit squares, and that's f6. Right? After takes, check. And you have no exit. All your pieces are behind you. Your king is exposed. After queen 2, you simply chomp chomp the piece. So, after that check, white is down material. The opponent goes king to f8. Wesley charges with f6, just forcing this to open. Takes with check, because of course, if you go here, queen to f7 is complete barbecue. So takes, check, and now the game is pretty much, well, it speaks for itself. Check, removing this, check, and the opponent resigned here. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is resistance is futile. It's a fight against futility. Anyways, quick recap. e4 at e5, bishop 2, c4, knight to f6 attacked, defending. Now attacking this a couple times. d6, f4. Wesley's intention is clear. He wants blood on the board, usually opening that up for an advance, or using this for an open file. Wesley baits the opponent, pushes here. If you do this, insanity occurs on the board, and if you take here, you absolutely get barbecued. So h5 was played, defending there, takes, 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 queen to f3, defending, supporting. Ideas here on g3. Mind you, this was an inaccuracy. Trying to take advantage of potentially semi-open file later. c6, too late. Sacrificing the bishop after takes, push. Game is done. Miniature. Many tactical ideas, one miniature. Hope you guys enjoyed that. More games to come from Super GMs, not just Magnus Hikaru and the Kasparovs, but some classics like Bobby Fischer and emerging stars and already stars like Pragnananda. I'll see you guys later. Double peace.